I don't put on airs, or I don't like try to visually present myself in a way to make myself something that I'm not, but I do like to visually present myself as I am and as I authentically am. I'm human and you're human and we're all humans, and there are no humans that are better than any other humans, right? I don't think the CEO of some billion-dollar corporation is better than me, but I also don't think the homeless person on the street is less than me either, right? I truly think that we're all equals and that God created us equal, right? So. Hey, CourtneyLSanders here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, I'm a full-time online life and business coach as well as wife and mom. I wear all the hats and do all the things, but I do it because I'm passionate about helping you turn your success story into a 6 or 7-figure coaching brand. Now, in order to do this, I gotta admit, you need some confidence, right? You need to be confident about yourself, your skills, because the clients can smell it on you. And so I feel like on this YouTube channel, I share a lot of content around, technical things that you need to do in order to grow your business and how to grow your brand and how to find your niche and how to do all of these things, which are very helpful. And like I said, I give the real secret sauce on this channel, but none of these things matter if you are not confident, right? Your prospects can smell a lack of confidence on you. They can smell that insecurity, and it's just kind of a turnoff because it makes them feel like, ooh, is she really confident? If you're not confident in your prices or confident in your niche or confident in your business, they're not confident that you are the right coach that is really going to be able to support them to get from point A to point Z. So having confidence is very important, obviously in coaching and obviously in entrepreneurship, but it's really important in your entire life. And so confidence is something that I have cultivated since my early days, but especially when I was an insecure young woman fresh out of college trying to figure out this coaching game. And now again, as a wife, a mom, wearing all the hats, doing all the things, like I really can't afford not to be confident in what I'm doing because I have so many people who are dependent on me, right? And people who are connected to me, not just, my husband and my kids, but my family, my sisters, my mom, my dad, my brother, my extended family, who are looking to me really to continue to, be the trailblazer in our family and create opportunities. And so lack of confidence is not an option, but I thought it'd be fun to do this video to really share how I cultivate confidence in myself and how you can cultivate confidence in yourself, particularly as a woman in business. How can you create confidence in your business and in your life? So if you're game for some confidence hacks for women, you're gonna love this episode, and let's get into it right now. Okay, the first thing that I have when it comes to confidence is that I really have a strong spiritual foundation. So as I mentioned many times on this channel, I am unapologetically a Christian. I, really believe in the Bible and God, and I'm just amazed and just grateful by God's grace. And so I really think that really helps me with my confidence, because I know that even if the entire world is like, you're trash, we hate you or whatever. Thankfully, no one has said that to me, but there might be a day when people are saying that to me. I understand that my value is not found even in me or even in this world, but it's really found in what Christ did for me and what Jesus thinks about me. So that's where I place my value, and that's my spiritual foundation. But it allows me to walk in rooms with my shoulders, pulled back, because one, I understand that I'm valuable just simply by being a child of God. But it also helps me understand that I'm human and you're human and we're all humans, and there are no humans that are better than any other humans, right? We're all created by God, right? We're all created equal. And so walking into rooms with that sense of equality, I find is really helpful with my confidence, because I'm not shrinking, thinking I'm like innately less than somebody because of something that they have that I don't have, or because of some title that they have that I don't have. I literally never think that, because I'm like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like, you still gotta use the bathroom like I do, right? Like there's still basic human things. You still gotta eat food. Like, none of us are immortal, right? So there's still basic things that you have to do as a human. And that doesn't make you, better than someone, right? So I don't think the CEO of some billion-dollar corporation is better than me, but I also don't think the homeless person on the street is less than me either, right? I truly think that we're all equals and that God created us equal, right? So that is really rooted in my spiritual foundation, and my belief that I am a child of God and I am human and that we are all created equal. And so that's really my base that allows me to remain confident in whatever room or whatever season that I'm in. So beyond that spiritual base, I do derive a lot of confidence from skills and mastery. And so I work very hard to be good at my craft and to be good at the things that I am good at, right? And I feel proud about these things and confident about them because I wasn't always good at them. I talk about my story all the time, particularly in coaching, how I got my start in life coaching and then eventually started to become more successful in that people started to ask me, how are you building this brand around like self-discipline? That was my original coaching program. How are you doing this? Time management, all these boring things that people shouldn't want to pay money for, yet they're paying you money. How are you doing that? And that's when I started to share the little insight that I had around how to monetize these things, which then allowed me to build a business and then develop a lot of business insight that I now share with the world here. So none of these skills happened overnight, and there are many more skills that I'm actively working on and actively looking to develop, but having some sort of skill set does bring you confidence. So I can't stress that enough. I think sometimes we want a false sense of confidence, when we haven't really done the work to master what we need to master, and we haven't done the work to really work on our craft. So if there's some lack of confidence you have, perhaps rightly so, because you haven't put in the work to really develop at the level that you want to develop in whatever endeavor you're doing, whether it's in business or in your personal life, I really encourage you to develop a skill set and to get really good at something. Because when you have a skill set and you're very good at something, again, you can walk into rooms with your head held high because you know that you have something to offer and you know that you have something that you can bring to any table. So really work at mastering a skill. Okay, the next thing that I've worked on over the years that really allows me to be confident in pretty much any room that I'm going into is that I try to stay well versed in a variety of topics. So I am a reader, I am a nerd. I have been a reader since the beginning. I was one of those kids that loved the summer reading programs at the library. You guys remember that? I feel like that is so dorky, but I know my library growing up back in the day, they used to give us these little paper booklets, and you had to read so many books over the summer, and then they would give these little stickers, and when you filled up your booklet, you got a free French fry from McDonald's, or you got a free Frosty from Wendy's. Such a throwback, and I could not wait, right? Now, at the time, I loved me, some fries from McDonald's. At the time, I loved me a Frosty, but really, I did it because I intrinsically always loved to read. So I really love reading. I really love reading about world events. Many of you know that I worked in the federal government and finance and banking, government policy. And so even though it's been years since I've been in that world, I still follow all of that news. I like to know what's going on from a geopolitical standpoint. And so I find that really helps me when I go into rooms, especially when I'm around people that I might not have anything in common with. I can kind of hold my own, in a conversation because I really strive to be well versed. And so this is something that I have to give my parents credit for. In fact, I give them credit for a lot of these things. But one thing that I'll share that is kind of unrelated, but is also related. I came across this educator. He's passed away, but his name is John Taylor Gatto. And I came across him years ago when I was first pregnant with my son, and I was already planning, what are we going to do at school? I was considering homeschooling. And so I was looking at a lot of different homeschool resources, and his name kept coming up because he had won Teacher of the Year, I think twice in a row in New York State. And basically he had won that award because he had turned around, I want to say, a school with perhaps troubled youth or students that they thought, might have had some learning disadvantages or some home disadvantages. And he really turned them around and showed them how to be successful students. So he talks about his journey and what he did in order to do that. But he also worked in elite private schools. And so basically he said his trick, so to speak, was that he just simply taught the, underprivileged students the same type of curriculum that the privileged students had from their elite private schools that he had previously worked at. And so he calls these 14 principles of elite private schools. You can just Google it, or I'll include the link with some videos where he talks about it. John Taylor Gatto, 14 principles of elite private schools. But I've since looked through this listing of 14 elite principles, and I noticed that while I have not mastered everything on that list, a lot of the things on those lists are things that my parents really drilled in me and made sure that I had a sort of a mastery of. And so another thing that he talks about that really brings me to my next point in terms of where I derive a lot of my confidence from is my ability to communicate well. So that is a compliment that I get from many of you on these in this YouTube video. So thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. I have invested personally in myself and learning how to speak engagements. But even before I got into this career of entrepreneurship and online business, my parents invested in me by making sure that I was always being volunteered for various situations in school where I was the one, giving a speech in front of the assembly at school, or even writing a letter home from a field trip. In fact, I went to a school where we all got to go to space camp one year, and I was selected to write the letter home on behalf of all the students, and it was published in our local city newspaper. So just little things like that my parents were always putting me up for, but it really gave me confidence where I wasn't shy around adults, I wasn't shy around authority figures, and I really learned to develop the ability to communicate my ideas clearly and to express what I think and just to genuinely be articulate. And so I find that helps, especially combined with being very well versed, especially in world topics. You go into various rooms, again, you're not like shrinking because one, you know what you're talking about, and two, you know how to communicate for yourself. And so that was kind of a long-winded way to say this, but go ahead and check out John Taylor Gatto if you want to learn more about specific things you can do to enrich yourself from an elite private school standpoint, and also some things that you might want to be diligent about imparting on your kids. But yes, being well-versed and being able to communicate really helps me have a level of confidence as I move through the world. Okay, I have more where that came from, but first I want to hear from you. What's one thing that you're really confident about? Share in the comments below. Okay, the next thing, which is slightly controversial, even though I feel like it shouldn't be, that helps me stay confident is that I really take care of my appearance. Now, what I'm saying is I take care of how I feel physically, and I take care of my grooming, how I dress, and this is not to be fancy or to dress in designer clothes or anything like that, but I like to show up in a way that reflects the excellence that I think I bring in terms of my work ethic. So I like to represent myself well, and I like to go into rooms where I am presenting visually in a way that I feel like is an accurate reflection of the type of excellence that I can bring on the inside as well. And so I just find that in our society, too many people just neglect that or think that that's not a big thing or think that that's superficial. But whether it's right or wrong, it is true that people will judge you, based on how you appear, right? They will judge a book from its cover. And so I just want to make sure that my cover is reflective of who I actually am. And so I would just want to make this distinction that I don't put on airs, or I don't like try to visually present myself in a way to make myself something that I'm not, but I do like to visually present myself as I am and as I authentically am. And so as I've mentioned on this channel before, my first foray into YouTubing was actually around creating natural hair care videos, As a Black woman for a long time, it was not acceptable for you to wear your hair in its natural state. Everyone expected you to have, relaxers to chemically straighten your hair. And as early as like 15, I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to wear my hair as it is. There were a lot of people that thought that that was unprofessional, right? At the time. Oh, why are you walking around with your hair looking like that? That's completely unprofessional. But again, I've always been very diligent where I like to express myself and make sure that my appearance is in alignment with who I actually am on the outside and is reflective of the kind of person that, I actually am and that I want you to connect with. And so I'm very diligent in making sure that whether it's something, simple like my hair or the way I dress and my style is like an accurate reflection of myself. But I also like to take care of myself, right? I like riding on my Peloton. I like eating healthy. And this is not like I'm fanatical about any of these things, but I like to take care of myself so that I feel good and that I feel good about the way I look and the way that I am moving in the world. All right, thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, I actually have a training that I haven't talked about much here on this channel, but you might want to check it out. And it's called POP. And then it's an acronym that stands for Polished and On Point. And it's a smaller training that I did a few years ago, but it really dives deep into this idea of really presenting yourself as your best, not just from a visual standpoint, but again, your speech, your ability to articulate, your ability to master different concepts. If you just really want to be a well-rounded woman and you think that that would help you develop more confidence, then you might want to check out that training. So I'll include the link for that below. But if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want even more where this came from, make sure that you are subscribed to my podcast, The Courtney Sanders Show. And if you can't wait for my next podcast episode or my next YouTube video, make sure that you are following me on Instagram, CourtneyLSanders on Instagram. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.